when accessible is not accessible, going beyond the ADA. Follow all the code requirements of the current ADA standards for accessible design, and you will still fall short of meeting the accessibility needs of people with the wide range of disabilities that exist. Regulations are a good place to start. Understanding universal design takes you from meeting the legal standards to meeting the needs of people of all abilities. This video will show you simple things you can keep in mind that will help you go beyond the regulations, reaching a higher level of universal design. Space allowance and reach ranges. The space required for a wheelchair to make a 180-degree turn is a clear space of 60 inches in diameter. Baby changing tables in an accessible stall can limit the clear space if someone in a wheelchair is unable to lift it back into place. A sink or a counter needs to have at least 27 inches to the bottom of the counter and no more than 34 inches to the top. The operable parts of all dispensers need to be within 48 inches above the floor, although 42 inches is even better, especially if the reach is over a counter. Because this plug is no less than 15 inches from the floor, it is reach range compliant. This interactive display meets reach ranges and is universally accessible. Wheelchair passing width is 5 feet. Considering that these service desks may have people in front of them, this aisleway is too narrow for wheelchair users or people using a cane. Accessible approach. When approaching the topic of accessibility and public facilities, one must consider the design process from the point of arrival. This can be the bus stop, passenger drop-off area, sidewalk, or parking facility. Parking and passenger loading zones. Oregon law for accessible parking spaces is much more restrictive than federal standards. Parking lot design requirements set forth by the Oregon Transportation Commission require that the width of the parking space be 9 feet rather than 8 feet, and the access aisle be 6 feet rather than 5 feet for non-wheelchair users.
Little to your right. Straight back. Little right, left. Good.
The grade and cross slope are critical when designing accessible parking spaces. In this case, Georgina's van door will not close due to the steep grade of the parking space. Severe grades and cross slopes can also result in runaway manual wheelchairs. Passenger drop-off areas need to be close to the entrance without risking passenger safety in accessing the facility. Accessible route. A change in ground surface, color, or pattern can alert an individual to the edge of the path of travel, entrances, or other transitions. The path of travel from parking to the facility needs to be accessible. Here is an example of the lack of a curb cut in the direction of travel, forcing the use of a curb cut into oncoming traffic. The path of travel from this parking space includes a nearly invisible hazard. Hazards or obstacles in a path of travel can be avoided with raised detectable warnings or using contrasting color for higher visibility. Creativity can abound when designing paths with accessible natural surfaces. Detectable warning surfaces assist individuals who are blind or with low vision. To be effective, they must contrast visually with adjacent walking surfaces. Here, a detectable warning strip alerts Patricia when she is at the end of the ramp, avoiding travel into oncoming traffic as she approaches the parking lot. Thresholds are a major tripping hazard. Anything over a quarter inch can throw a wheelchair user or someone who uses a walker to the ground. Stairs can be a hazard for people with low vision if there is no detectable warning or bold color changes indicating they are there. Entering the lobby at the Casey Eye Institute, someone who has low vision would be unclear as to where to go to find information or the elevator. Without significant color changes or bold signage at eye level, it's difficult to know where you are or where you're going. A person could walk right by elevators they're looking for when they blend into the walls. By comparison, when bold, distinctive colors are used on the path of travel, they can help direct people with low vision to help desks, elevators, or stairs. These elevators stand out against the light-colored walls. Patterns or changes in surface materials down the center of a path of travel can provide direction. When something extends more than 4 inches into the path of travel at a height of between 27 and 80 inches, there needs to be a detectable warning, such as a partial wall, that can be detected by a cane. An accessible path of travel can also be applied to outdoor recreation, such as a playground, or a fenced-in dog park. Unfortunately for Patricia, the path of travel was not very distinctive at this particular dog park. She had to rely on the photographer for additional direction.
It's to your left. To your left. Keep going to your left. A little more to your left. You're right at the post. There it is.
Good girl.
Entrances and doors. The approach to a facility should provide universal access so all individuals can enter easily at the front entrance. Opening doors with a closed fist and limited mobility can be difficult if the door requires too much force to open it, or if there is not enough room to maneuver around it. The door can be tested for the force needed to open it using a fish scale. Latches on outdoor gates also need to be operable with a closed fist. A touchpad to open a door is a good solution to opening exterior doors. However, touchpads also need to be tested for the degree of force necessary for door operation. Automatic doors are ideal for large complexes with heavy pedestrian usage. Grab bars, shower seats, and operating mechanisms. Grab bars can provide much needed support in various locations. When grab bars are used in a shower stall, placement needs to be at a maximum height of 33 to 36 inches. The operating mechanisms of this shower and soap dispenser also need to be within 48 inches of the floor. But 42 inches would be preferable for people with limited range of motion. Signage. Names on buildings need to be prominent and distinctive on all possible entrances and paths of travel to the building. Signs to the accessible entrance need to be prominent and distinctive at every entrance. Signs need to comply with 703 of the 2010 ADA Guidelines for Height and Contrast Regulations. Oregon regulations on parking signage, different from federal standards, require that the bottom of the sign is 84 inches, more or less 3 inches from ground level. To learn more on the Oregon law regarding parking signage and sign placement, refer to the Oregon Transportation Commission's Standards for Accessible Parking Spaces. Universally recognized symbols can be used on signs and can be very helpful for people who have difficulty reading or understanding words. The universal accessibility sign can be used to denote an accessible entrance. Although blue is a recognized color for accessibility, it is not mandatory as long as there is a 70% contrast between the lettering and background color. Here's a map showing exit routes. The use of bold or raised lines is important for individuals with low vision or who are blind. Signage that is located high off the wall or ceiling may be difficult to find or read by someone with low vision. Alarms. Fire alarms must be both audible and visual. Again, 48 inches from the floor to operate this fire alarm is regulation, but 42 inches would be more user-friendly. Access to services. To more easily access services, facilities can offer clipboards or assistive hearing devices. Access to services, preventable obstacles and hazards. Sometimes the design is right, but human error can create an obstacle that will prevent accessibility. A split toilet seat can pinch or cut someone who has no control or feeling in their legs. Use a full round toilet seat whenever possible. No split toilet seat here, but look at the positioning of the trash can, another preventable obstacle. Accessibility. It can be a beautiful thing. The design of facilities can be accessible and beautiful. Here's an example of a beautiful handrail at a Washington State park, a stairway with plexiglass sides, and a beautiful wraparound bench seat with the planter being the focal point. The only thing holding us back from universal access are the creative ideas and the designs to make it happen.